Today I'm going to chat to you about, you can hear them a little bit croaky, miking guitar cabinets. Now I look at this from a different perspective sometimes. We all know probably the basic ways of shoving a SM57 on the front of the cabinet, you know, on the grill, and then maybe moving it around the cone a little bit to darken the tone or brighten the tone. Or sometimes we have the microphone where we'll pop it off an axis like this kind of thing, and again you've got that opportunity to move it around the actual cabinet. How cool is this? It's a little key holder. Somebody bought it me for Christmas, my daughter-in-law, and it's great. I'm going to put it on the wall and I can stick my keys in there, which is really rather pleasurable. But this, I kind of look at this very similar to when I record a drum kit. It's the equivalent to me of just playing the snare close mics or the tom close mics in your mix, which there's nothing wrong with that if that's the sound that you're after. I always say to everybody with audio production, there's no right or wrong way. If it sounds good to you and you're happy with what you've got, then you've got the job done. But so I wouldn't generally record a drum kit and just close mic everything and then put those close mics in the kit. For me, the whole energy of the drums comes from the room mics, like a stereo pair, a couple of good ribbon mics, distanced, you know, and you open the kit up, because when you blend those into close mics on a drum kit, you suddenly get this, whoa, big sound. So if we think about miking cabinets this way, we're just using the snare mic sort of scenario, but on a cabinet, which is great. Now for me, amps and cabs all resonate and they all sound different. So if I was after that, that's what I would do. But 99 times out of 100, that gives me a great result. But I also like to sometimes do something a little bit different, where I'll have one close mic'd and then another mic set back in the room, or even a stereo pair like we would a drum kit, where we're capturing the stereo sound of the room. Obviously you've got to watch your phase issues and problems when you're doing things like that with multi-mic recording setups. But for me, sometimes I will just close mic and then I'll have another mic, obviously check that it's in phase, 3, 4, 5 foot away from the drum kit. But the favourite one that I like to do, like I say, is the stereo spread and capture the room, especially if it's a guitar instrumental or a guitar solo that I'm recording, because again, that gives me that extra width. So that is my snare drum kind of technique, if this makes sense. But I wouldn't always necessarily have a snare drum as close mic'd as that. Sometimes I would pull the mic away to capture a little bit of the hi-hat. So mic placement is really critical to what you're trying to achieve when you're recording guitars or drums. You know, you can get a great sounding drum recording with 3, 4, 5 mics without even close micing a lot of it half the time. Glyn Johns, for example, check that method out. You know, that's a great way of recording drums and it gives you a huge sound. You're capturing the kit as a whole. The same thing with this. When you distance a microphone from a guitar amplifier, you're capturing the cabinet sound as well as the speaker, as well as the elements in the room. So they all play a fundamental part in it. If it was easy as that, we would literally just probably not really need to EQ amps at all if we just wanted to capture the speaker, but that helps the cabinet to resonate. This is why we change. Amps get put in bad rooms, bad sounding venues, bad sounding rehearsal spaces. That's why we've got these EQs to correct and create the perfect tone that we want. So the same thing applies with mics. You're only capturing one element of the tone of the cabinet. Move it away, see what that gives you, a little bit more room, a little bit more of the amp that gets put into the recording. So sometimes for me, I'll just literally throw the SM57 across the room, capture the whole room and see what we get that way. Again, like I said earlier, if you are multi-micing, make sure that you check your phase, that you are in phase with a lot of these mics. But one of the secret ones I do like is a close mic and then treating it like a drum kit. Two spaced pair of mics, nice sort of ribbon mics that tend to be a little bit duller, I find, and I can just bring those in and it opens up the spread of the stereo field of the guitar mic and the sound that you're after. Have a little play with it if you've got 2 or 3 microphones. It's worth having a setup for an hour. You know, recording guitars isn't really just about bang that on and away we go. Listen to what the song, you know, requires. If it's a funk song, you know, you're probably going to want something that's a little bit drier, so you can probably get closer. If it's a huge anthem Marshall stack, then this really, with a bit of this, is going to add more impact to it as well. So listen to what the band wants, listen to their overall sound in general. And the biggest thing I see from every band that comes into the studio that plays an overdriven amp is they actually have too much distortion on it. Back it off. If you want a classic example, listen to Angus Young riffs with AC/DC. Not as distorted and overdriven as you think, it's just crunched up slightly. Very, very cleanish really for a rock band, and yet the guitars sound absolutely immense. So again, that's a couple of little tips for you when you're micing anything. Have a little play. Don't just think of that, the industry standard. Think of that, think of that, think of that, think of that. You know, move things around. You'll find the sweet spot and determine what the band requires when you're recording those amps, and I'm sure you'll get some great results. As always, from me, Chris, stay safe, stay well, thanks for watching, and keep on rocking in the free world.